Why have a quiet time with God? What is the big deal with this quiet time thing? After all, I pray to God every day. I read my Bible when I can. I go to church and I listen to teachings on YouTube and podcasts. So why must I have a quiet time with God? First of all, having a quiet time with God should not be viewed as a mere religious activity. I think I cleared this in my last video where I answered the question, what is a quiet time with God? I will link it in the description and the comment section so you can catch up on that video if you missed it. So, here are 3 reasons why you should have a daily quiet time with God. Number 1, you need to know God for yourself. And by this, I mean personal experiences and encounters. You cannot depend solely on the sermons in church and YouTube and podcasts. You need to know God for yourself. You must have to also study on your own, meditate, and hear from God Himself. This is the way to grow in your walk with God. Let me tell you a little story. I grew up in the Christian home and I've always heard that drinking alcohol is a sin, and so I carried that message like that. One day, while I was still in the higher institution, I had this conversation with a young man, and we started talking about this whole alcohol thing. He drinks alcohol a lot, so I was trying to tell him it's a sin as a Christian. You shouldn't drink alcohol and all that. So it became an argument. He told me it is not a sin. He quoted scriptures to back himself up. And then he told me to my face that if I could give him one scripture that condemns drinking of alcohol, that he would quit drinking alcohol. Guess what? I didn't have one single scripture to quote. I had no biblical references. And this is because I've actually never read it in scripture. It was a message that has been passed down to me by virtue of going to church and listening to sermons. Whether it was correct or not, I wasn't sure. I didn't know. All I know is that they said it in church. I believed it. I took it and I went as far as preaching it without having any convictions, personal convictions, without going to scripture to verify and be sure that this is true so that I can actually be able to preach from the right standpoint. I felt so embarrassed. I felt so embarrassed. I left that conversation that day and I went back to the scriptures and I went back to study. I was like, God, I embarrassed myself today. So this is what we are talking about. You need to know God for yourself, not just what you were told about God. It was Apostle Paul that said that I may know him and the power of his resurrection and the fellowship of his suffering, being conformed to his death. Philippians 3 and verse 10. Beloved, don't just know God by what you get told about him. You need to know God personally. Number 2, you need to build intimacy with God. If you do not spend time alone with God, how can you build intimacy? How can you know him intimately? During quiet time, you are alone with God. You are able to open yourself up to him without fear of anyone hearing you, anyone judging you. You're free to be vulnerable and honest to the core. You see, for me, this is where I am most vulnerable and it's where I feel most love. And I come out of this experience refreshed and my confidence in God's love for me keeps growing each day. Number 3, you need to do it because Jesus did it. As followers of Christ, Jesus is our perfect example in being and in doing. And if he, being God, still counted it important to have alone time with the Father while he was on earth as man, then we must also follow in his footsteps. Now, in the morning, having risen a long while before daylight, he went out and departed to a solitary place, and there he prayed. Mark chapter 1 and verse 35. I hope and I pray that the Holy Spirit will speak to your heart and help you understand the need to begin to have a daily quiet time with God. Thank you for watching till the end. And if you have any question, kindly leave it in the comment below and I will attend to it. My name is Elizabeth Okemefuna. If you found this video helpful, kindly give it a thumbs up. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so that you get notified once I release the next video in this series. I will see you on the next video. And until then, keep being original and keep working on your relationship with God. God bless you.